Listen carefully, because this is not entertainment. This is awareness. Most women don't get betrayed overnight. Cheating doesn't begin in bed. It begins in language. It begins in sentences that sound harmless, logical, even loving, and that's why they work. A man who is cheating rarely looks guilty. He looks calm, reasonable, even mature. He doesn't shout, he explains, he doesn't disappear suddenly. He slowly rewrites reality in front of you, one sentence at a time. And there are 6 words, 6 simple, everyday words, that when spoken in a certain tone, at a certain stage, are not reassurance. They are a confession disguised as calm. The problem is not that women don't hear these words. The problem is that women explain them away. Because when you love someone, you don't listen to words, you listen to hope. You don't hear what is being said, you hear what you want it to mean. And that's exactly where manipulation lives. Cheating survives not because the other woman is attractive, but because the original woman doubts her own instincts. The first thing you must understand is this. A man who is loyal has no need to over-explain his loyalty. His consistency speaks for him. His behavior doesn't need translation. So the moment a man starts managing your emotions with language instead of managing his behavior with integrity, something is already wrong. Now let's talk about the words. It's not what you think. These 6 words have destroyed more intuition than any lie ever could. Because when a man says this, he's not addressing the situation, he's addressing your confidence. He's telling you that your perception is unreliable. He's positioning himself as the authority over reality. Notice how clever this is. He doesn't say what it actually is. He just says what it isn't. He leaves you hanging in uncertainty and then expects you to fill the gap with trust. A faithful man says, "Let me explain." A cheating man says, "You're misunderstanding." One invites clarity. The other invites self-doubt. And the moment you start questioning your own judgment instead of his behavior, the power shifts. Now you're not asking the right questions anymore. Now you're trying to prove that you're not paranoid. That's when cheating becomes easy, because the guard is down. The second sentence sounds almost respectful, almost mature. I need some space. Space is healthy when it's mutual. Space is dangerous when it's sudden. When a man who used to be present suddenly needs distance, it's rarely about self-growth. It's about emotional availability being redirected. Humans don't detach emotionally into a vacuum. They detach towards something else. When a man is cheating, space is not about breathing. It's about dividing attention. He needs room to invest energy elsewhere without accountability. And notice how this sentence puts you in a trap. If you question it, you look needy. If you accept it, you disappear quietly. Either way, he wins time, and time is exactly what cheating needs to grow. A loyal man creates space without losing connection. A disloyal man creates distance and calls it space. The third sentence is one that women often feel guilty reacting to. You're overreacting. This is not a sentence. This is a weapon. It's gaslighting in its most socially acceptable form. When a man says this, he's not responding to the issue. He's evaluating your emotional response and declaring it invalid. He's shifting the focus from his actions to your emotions. Ask yourself this. If nothing was wrong, why does he need to control your reaction instead of correcting his behavior? A secure man listens. A cheating man minimizes. Because acknowledging your concern would mean acknowledging his inconsistency. And here's the dangerous part. Once you accept that you're overreacting, you start reacting less. You become quieter, more tolerant. You normalize discomfort, and that emotional silence becomes the perfect environment for betrayal to continue uninterrupted. The fourth sentence sounds honest, even humble. I'm just really stressed. Stress is real. Life is hard. But stress does not erase character. Stress reveals it. When a man uses stress as a shield, ask yourself why stress only seems to affect his availability to you, but not his phone usage, not his social life, not his energy for everything else. Cheating men love this sentence because it's unprovable. You can't measure stress. You can't argue with exhaustion. And you don't want to be the woman who adds pressure. So you back off, you become understanding. Meanwhile, the emotional investment is happening somewhere else, where he feels relaxed, understood, and alive. A faithful man under stress leans toward his partner. A cheating man uses stress to justify emotional absence. The fifth sentence is one of the most misleading. She's just a friend. If a man has to clarify that a woman is just a friend, it means the connection has already crossed a boundary in some way. Healthy friendships don't need defense. They are transparent. They don't live in secrecy, deleted messages, or emotional intensity. The issue is not friendship. The issue is emotional exclusivity. When he starts sharing with another woman what he no longer shares with you, his thoughts, his frustrations, his dreams, that's not friendship. That's emotional replacement. And notice how this sentence subtly accuses you. If you question it, you're insecure. If you accept it, you ignore your instincts. Either way, the bond grows in the dark. Cheating doesn't start with touch. It starts with access. The sixth sentence is the most dangerous because it sounds loving. I would never hurt you. This is not reassurance. This is preemptive defense. When someone feels the need to announce their morality instead of demonstrating it, something is already fractured. A loyal man doesn't say this during suspicion. He says it through consistency over time. When a cheating man says it, he's trying to anchor you emotionally so you stop looking logically. He wants you to remember his words, not his patterns, and patterns never lie. Here's the truth no one tells women: cheating men don't act like villains. They act like victims of misunderstanding. They don't look careless, they look overwhelmed. They don't sound cruel, they sound tired. And that's why intelligent, emotionally aware women still get betrayed, because manipulation doesn't insult your intelligence, it exploits your empathy. If you want to know whether a man is cheating, stop listening to what he says and start observing what changes. His schedule, his patience, his curiosity about you, his consistency. Cheating always leaves traces, not on the body first, but on the energy. A man who is cheating becomes defensive when questioned, vague when explaining, and generous with promises instead of actions. He will accuse you of mistrust while giving you reasons to doubt. He will demand understanding while avoiding transparency. And here's the hardest truth. If you have to constantly interpret, decode, or emotionally negotiate someone's words, the relationship is already unsafe. Love does not require translation. Loyalty does not require convincing. The strongest women are not the ones who hold on the longest. They are the ones who recognize when language stops matching behavior. They trust patterns over promises, silence over speeches, actions over explanations. Because a man who is faithful doesn't need 6 words to prove it. And a man who is cheating will reveal himself long before you catch him, if you stop explaining away what you already feel. And this is where most women make the mistake. They think catching a man cheating means finding proof, messages, calls, another woman. But by the time proof appears, the betrayal has already happened emotionally. The real moment you should pay attention is when your nervous system changes, when you start feeling confused instead of calm, when conversations leave you drained instead of reassured, when you rehearse your words before speaking because you don't want to start a fight. That hesitation is not love. That hesitation is self-betrayal. A man who is cheating slowly trains you to lower your expectations. He does it so subtly that you don't even realize you're shrinking. You start celebrating bare minimum effort. A reply becomes affection. A visit becomes commitment. An apology without change becomes hope. And all of this is maintained through language, carefully chosen sentences that keep you emotionally invested while he stays morally detached. Notice how these 6 words are never aggressive. They are calm, reasonable. That's because manipulation doesn't need volume, it needs repetition. When you hear, "It's not what you think" enough times, you stop thinking. When you hear, "You're overreacting" enough times, you stop reacting. When you hear, "I need space" enough times, you disappear emotionally while still staying physically available. And the most dangerous part is this: cheating men often believe their own lies. They don't wake up thinking, "I'm a bad person." They justify everything. They convince themselves they're confused, misunderstood, overwhelmed, pressured. They paint themselves as men who are trying their best. That's why their words sound sincere. That's why their eyes don't always look guilty, because self-deception is very convincing. Women are taught to be understanding before being observant, to give benefit of the doubt before demanding clarity, to protect the relationship before protecting themselves. And cheating feeds on that conditioning. A man knows that if he sounds emotionally intelligent enough, you'll question yourself before you question him. Pay attention to how he responds when you ask simple questions. Does he answer directly or emotionally redirect? Does he give details or philosophies? Does he bring solutions or silence? A faithful man wants peace through clarity. A cheating man wants peace through avoidance. Another subtle shift happens in tone. He becomes less curious about your life. Your stories start feeling like interruptions. Your emotions feel like inconveniences. But when you bring this up, he doesn't deny the change. He reframes it. Stress, work, pressure. You start adjusting your needs to match his excuses. And slowly you stop asking. Not because things got better, but because you got tired. This is how emotional neglect enters quietly. No shouting, no dramatic exits, just absence disguised as maturity, distance framed as growth, detachment labeled as independence. And the 6 words keep echoing whenever your intuition tries to speak up. Understand this clearly. Intuition is not paranoia. Paranoia screams without evidence. Intuition whispers with patterns. If something feels off consistently, it's because something is off consistently. Feelings don't need facts to exist. They need honesty to be heard. A man who is cheating will often accuse you of not trusting him, but trust is not blind faith. Trust is built on predictable behavior. When behavior becomes unpredictable, trust doesn't break, it reacts. And calling that reaction insecurity is one of the most common manipulation tactics. Also notice how these men often become very calm during serious conversations. That calmness is not emotional regulation, it's emotional detachment. He is not fighting because he's already mentally somewhere else. You are arguing for clarity, he is negotiating for convenience. When a man is invested, he fears losing you. When a man is cheating, he fears losing control of the narrative. That's why he chooses words carefully. That's why he avoids direct answers. That's why he keeps you emotionally occupied instead of emotionally secure. And if you're constantly feeling like you need to prove your worth, your patience, your loyalty, you're already playing a game you were never meant to play. Love doesn't demand endurance tests. Loyalty doesn't require silence. The moment you realize that his words are designed to manage your reaction rather than fix the issue, something shifts. You stop explaining yourself. You stop chasing reassurance. You start watching patterns. And patterns, unlike promises, don't lie. A man who is cheating will always say the right thing at the wrong time. He will speak when action is required. He will comfort when correction is needed. He will reassure when transparency is demanded. And as long as words are working, behavior will never change. That's why strength doesn't come from confrontation alone. It comes from emotional boundaries, from recognizing when language is being used to delay truth, from understanding that confusion is not a normal state in a healthy relationship. Because the real betrayal is not that he chose someone else. It's that he chose to keep you emotionally invested while emotionally absent. And no amount of loving harder, understanding deeper, or waiting longer will change someone who is actively choosing convenience over commitment. And once you see this, you can't unsee it. And here is the truth that ends all confusion. Loyalty is not a feeling, it is a discipline. A man doesn't stay faithful because he loves you. He stays faithful because he has integrity when no one is watching. Love without integrity is just attachment with good vocabulary. If a man's words consistently calm you while his actions consistently disturb you, believe the disturbance. Peace is the language of truth. Confusion is the language of avoidance. You were never meant to decode someone who is meant to be honest with you. Stop asking whether he is cheating and start asking whether you feel emotionally safe. Stop listening to promises and start watching patterns. A man who wants to keep you will not make you compete with silence, distance, or doubt. He will not require you to shrink, wait, or tolerate emotional uncertainty. The strongest move you will ever make is not catching him, confronting him, or fixing him. The strongest move is withdrawing your emotional energy from someone who survives by confusing you. Because the moment you stop explaining yourself to someone committed to misunderstanding you, you take your power back. Remember this and never forget it. A woman who trusts her intuition is unstoppable, but a woman who ignores it becomes easy to betray. You don't lose people by demanding clarity. You lose them by accepting confusion. And any man who needs 6 words to keep you doubting yourself has already told you everything you need to know without ever saying the truth.